Hey guys, it's me, Blade. It's been a while. It's been a minute actually. I haven't really made a video in quite a long time, and this is gonna be really unscripted. This is just an update of what I've been doing, what I've done, and I just want to keep you guys updated. Like I haven't said anything or talked, but um, it's just life, right? Everyone has a life. We all have it, but I wanted to have this video just because I wanted to talk and I want to upload something. Just tell you guys what's been going on with this channel, what I want to do with it, and what's like the plan for this year and kind of the future further on. So I know I've talked about it a little bit, but those videos I made in 2024 were like just kind of like a shot in the dark type videos I wanted to do, and they did great. And those were like some of the big successes I've had in this channel, and honestly like a route I want to go. I'm not done making analyses, I'm not done or quitting, I'm still making those. But I've also realized that like I've limited myself to this channel so many times that I want to talk about other things than just comic books. No, I'm not changing the name. Blade the Commenter, it's always going to stay. I think that's always going to be the name I go by. I don't know, it's like it's like my Indiana Jones, Like I'm called it by everyone, people who love me, people who hate me. It's the best. But I realize I've held myself to a high regard from my videos. I feel like everyone has that, everyone weird. I'm not saying everyone perfectist, but there's with your own personal work, you're gonna be super judgmental of yourself and what you create, and I've been holding myself back a bit. I've realized that. I've been trying to work on some videos, though you've seen those teasers I've had, and I feel like I've never had the right idea. The right analysis I want to do from these ideas. I'm not saying like these videos are done or I'm not doing them. It's just taking me some time to think about them, and like I think I'm sort of a perfectionist when it comes to some of my videos. Like that MMM video, if you really look at it, I have like a spelling error at the end, but it kind of works, I think, at the end of the day, because it makes you remember that, like, hey, you said forgot, like, I think I said like forgot and subscribe. Yeah, that's dumb, but like people remember it, so it does. At the end of the day, that little typo, it works. People remember it, and you can look at the video, and yeah, you can comment. Yeah, I had a typo. You can say that. I don't care. But I've just realized that when it comes to certain ideas, certain topics I want to cover, I want to really have something that's different, something that speaks to me. That MMM video I felt like was really personal. I felt like I cooked so much with that video because during that time, I was just really into Animal Man and Grant Morrison's work, and it really just you kind of tell that I was just really into it. And I kind of feel like with a lot of my other projects, I haven't had that same sort of emotion. Even with the Batman one, I was working on that one for months, and I was gonna quit doing it. The Batman Night Cries video. That video was worked on while the MMM video. While I was working on MMM video, I was working on Night Cries video at the same time, and I just kind of lost motivation for that video, and then started working back on it afterwards, just because like I don't know. But I think what I'm trying to say is just that if there's a project I don't have motivation for, I don't have an interesting topic, I'm just not going to talk about it. And I'm not saying that, I'm canceling a video or nothing, because hell no, I'm not. I just think I have to... That Human Target video, I'm taking a whole different route with it, because I feel like there's just something else with that. I have an idea of what I want to go for, and I think I need time to fully think it out, And I have some other video ideas. I am going to talk about Superman at one point, probably towards the summer, just because I think everyone talked about it, and I want to talk about, like, once it's all the topic is over, I really want to talk about it, because that's a movie I have a lot about. I'm kind of just yapping at this point, but let me actually tell you guys the big things that are happening in this channel right now. But yes, comic book announcements are still happening. I'm still doing superhero stuff. I also want to talk about weird superhero things, so things that are superhero related that aren't just particularly superheroes. I mean, not just DC and Marvel comic books. Because superheroes are part of pop culture. They're part of media, and they have weird things from that too. Like I had a teaser for Remy Neurals. I'm butchering his name, but it was a photography set for of a guy with Batman figures, and I want to cover that because I feel like I could have a really weird personal idea about what is Batman, what does Batman mean to me and you, and blah blah blah, whatever. Um, just things that that are passionate to me, and things that I want to talk about, because this is my channel. I'm Blade the Comic Nerd. Another thing too, if you guys don't remember, some people know, I have a Lisa Bonet profile picture I always used to go to. Sometime this year I might change back to it, just because that is my vibe, that is my aesthetic. I don't know, maybe not, but I do want to go back to kind of having that sort of Adult Swim, 2000s vibe, but a little gothic too. I don't know. I'm going for a lot of things. You guys don't probably know that. I'm trying to. I'm a little, I'm in the goth subgenre also. 'Cause I like Vertigo. I've always had interest for gothic stuff. Not even one of those guys who just love gothic, but I love the subculture, I love the politics of it. DC Vertigo was always my thing growing up as a kid, and it's always been a cool subculture. I love Melis Mitzer. Chemical Romance was a thing I used to like as a kid. So the weird thing about Chemical Romance, I never told people this, but I had a short phase where I liked them, but I always really liked Gerard Way's writing. I've always been a big fan of Gerard Way. That's the funny thing. I like a little bit of Chemical Romance, and I like some of their albums, and but I think I've grown past it. Not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I still have a special place in my heart, but it wasn't they weren't always my favorite group. I was a Melis Mitzer guy, and I don't know. I love Japanese rock, but Gerard Way's a favorite writer of mine. I do want to cover about some of Gerard Way's work, and even Gerard Way's Batman idea and some of the other comics he's worked on. Sandman. I used to be like Death, but if you know about Neil Gaiman, you know, fuck Neil Gaiman. But yeah. I haven't even talked about the actual things I want to talk about for this channel now, but actually, I want to do game analyses. I know, yeah, everyone talks about them, but they're not going to be in the normal sense where I'm just talking about a game, but I want them to come from a personal passion. I want to talk about games that interest me, because there are games I really like. I'm also a gamer, you guys probably know this, but I love gaming. I have I don't know, I play a lot of games. So many weird RPGs, Fallout, Fortnite, whatever. Any sort of game I get my hands on, I'll probably play it. But I do want to talk about just video game analyses. Just kind of this is another YouTuber I'm inspired by, but kind of like Nitro Rad. I've always had a soft spot for Nitro Rad. He's been a YouTuber I've always liked. I guess my two big inspirations for YouTube have always been there's a couple different YouTubers, but the one that I've always been really inspired by was I was a big Pan Pizza kid. I used to love Robo Taxi, so I used to talk about cartoons. But it was Rebel Taxi, and I think who else? It was someone Casually Comics. I've always liked Casually Comics. Who else? My big inspirations for YouTube have been Casually Comics, Nitro Rad, Comic Tropes, Comic Storian. I actually didn't mention Comic Storian's past, and that was something that really hit home for me, because that was a YouTuber I grew up watching as a kid, and just seeing knowing someone I used to watch as a kid pass away like that, just it did kind of really affect me, and rest in peace. Comic Storian was a big influence of mine. Casually Comics, Nitro Rad, Rebel Taxi. There's other ones too, but I can't think of all off the top of my head. I guess a more recent one is Strange Brain Parts. I love his analyses, and that guy is just, he's really smart. But yeah, I really do want to still talk about comic books, and maybe I'll do comic book video games too. I feel like a nice blend for me to kind of shift to that, because like I said, I'm not completely shifted to one thing or another. I'm gonna try to do just everything, because these are things I'm passionate about, and this is my channel. I can talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about, but I do want to make a little shift towards video game analyses, maybe towards sometimes this middle of the year. I'll maybe talk about a superhero video game that'd be maybe some old, just something that interests me, because I'm also a comic book nerd, and I'm also a gamer, and I feel like that's the best of both worlds. You get my annoying comic book analyses, and my and cool gameplay footage, and also my opinions on the gameplay, and even maybe just a cool game you don't know about. I already have an idea about a game I want to talk about. I already have a first idea of a really a good superhero video game I want to talk about, you probably know. If you know me well enough, you probably already know what it is. I'm not gonna say, but all you need to know is that I'm gonna be by your side. Okay, that was a dumb joke. You'll know when you see you see the analysis. But and also I do want to talk about I used to do movie reviews, I used to do show reviews and all of that, but I do also want to talk about maybe some shows and movies that also interest me, because I'm a big fan of just everything, you know? There are some movies I like that I think are really interesting, very unique, and I do maybe just want to, you know, give like pointers and talk about them a bit. Yeah, this is my channel. I just want to talk about whatever, everything that passion and that interests me. Hell, I might even talk about animals at one point, you know, who knows? But my whole point is that I do want to have a bigger free range with this channel and what I talk about. And I know some people might not like that, and I get that, you know, you can't see comic book analyses, but just, how about this? Let's have an agreement. At least let me try. If you don't like these analyses, you know, you can tell me. I get it. You know, if you don't like the game stuff and we talk about a show that interests me, I completely get that. You're here for comic books. But at the end of the day, this is my channel. I want to talk about what I'm passionate about. And like, you know, I think these things are unique. These things are unique and speak to me on a personal level. I feel like, yeah, I want to show these people this. I want to, you know, show people what this means to me. And I guess I also want to just mention like why I've been on hiatus for such a long time. I'm not gonna go too much in my personal life because I just don't like doing that on this channel. Well, I'll keep it vague as possible, but I personally went through I had someone really close to me. I lost someone so really close to me, and they were kind of the big reason why I made this channel. Like back in the day, like even when I used to do stop motions and all of this, and they were kind of like the one person who really like pushed me to do this stuff. And I lost them last year. And I'm sorry, it still is a bit difficult to talk about, because it's difficult to find motivation knowing that they're not here anymore. And I don't know, just for a bit, it took such a long time to just think and realize it's like, I don't know, feels like I just didn't have the motivation anymore, and I miss them a lot. But and I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm still grieving that loss even right now, you know. But I've realized that, you know, with time and talking, and you know, I'm working through it still, that I'm still gonna do this. I'm still gonna push myself too, but it's just, yeah, it's been a bit difficult. I can admit that, and I'm just letting you guys know that, you know, despite what you think about this channel, I'm as human as, you know, the rest of us, as you know, as you guys are, and it's just difficult to find that same motivation, knowing, you know, just they aren't here to push me on and, you know, always see my videos, and it just, I don't know. When those videos blew up of mine, that meant so much to me. And at the time, the person who was my big motivation got really sick, and they really never really got to see that success. And I'm not gonna lie, it does kind of tear me up a little bit sometimes to think about that. Like, even when I was a kid, they were like my big motivation to like keep editing and keep working on this stuff, or why I did stop motion. And you know, they meant a lot to me. And you know, and you know, losing all your family members, that, you know, it happens, I get it, but it just, I don't know, it's hard, you know. And I'm sorry if I'm getting too personal, but it is completely just warped my perspective of the world, and pretty much just, I don't know. It took me time to realize, like, what's the point of making anything if they're not here? Or what's the point of even trying to keep this going, because I'm just, you know, why should I? And yeah, I should keep going. It's just, I don't know, I felt so stuck in my head. I tried to do videos, but just realizing that, you know, I'm just, grieving this and trying to work, and like I can admit I work in grief. That Emblem video, I was going through some of like toughest times in my life, and I felt like it was such a big accomplishment for me to make that. I went through just some really harrowing stuff, but even afterwards I made that video, and it really, like, I don't know, it felt good to know that I was able to make something in such a dark time in my life. But now just knowing that, you know, they aren't there to push on that motivation, it's like, it has hurt a bit, you know? But, you know, you have to take those things with you and just, you know, acknowledge it. I'm sorry if this has gotten way too personal. I know everyone's probably like, what the heck? It's just, I hope you guys can maybe understand on the human level that, you know, it's difficult sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. It really hurt. I think it's the best way to put it. Enough of that. I just don't know. I also just didn't know what to do with this channel anymore. I lost motivation. I just don't know. I didn't know what to do. My mind was just so just confused and so hurt that I just really didn't know, like, what can I make? What can I create? You know? Like I said, I can work through grief. I've done, you know, song and dance before, but, you know, something that just it hurt so much that I was just like, I don't know what to create. I can't create anything. You know? Sometimes your heart aches so much you just sit there and think. And but yeah, I've found the motivation to continue again because I realize that they're still here with me always. I don't think they'll ever be gone with me truly. I know that I'm just talking, but like that love is still there, and I know that they're, whatever they are, I hope they're wishing me well. But yeah, like I said, life hits you like a brick, and yeah. Ooh. But yeah, you know, things happen. That's just a part of life. You know, I'm growing up. I'm an adult now. It's weird to say that I'm still doing this. You know, I feel like this channel, I've been making this channel since I was pretty much like a kid. You know, I've been doing this since I was like, what was it, 11, 12 maybe? I'm an adult. I'm in my 20s now. Like, I don't know. And like, I don't have like the biggest channel ever. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers. And, you know, some people to think like, oh, that's horrible. You know, I'm still going, and I'm, you know, I haven't really reached the success I want, but that's fine. I have this small little group. I have this small group of people who support me and those videos, and I've made a little community here, and that's fine. I don't need the biggest community ever. I don't need a lot of people. I just need a small group of people who get me. That might sound crazy, and like I said, this channel's still gonna be growing. You know, we're still gonna be more, but like for now, I don't want to be the most popular YouTuber ever. I don't want to be that. I just want to be me, and I want to express myself through this channel, and I want to show people that these are things that I create. I've been doing a lot this last year in my grief. I learned to play music. I've been trying to play the guitar more and more. Me and a close friend of mine from college started a band. We're still working on the band and stuff, but you know, I'm a guitar guy. I mean, I've played piano. I'm not like the best guitar, but I want to learn with it more. I've got back into drawing. I don't really post my drawings in here, but I've always had a big fascination about drawing. I love drawing people. I've been drawing women a lot. I've got really good at drawing women. You know, I don't know. This video is probably such a different tone for all my other videos, but I just want to let you guys know what I've been doing this last year, and just knowing that I've, you know, just had to take things off for a while and to really like get my mindset together, get my mind straight. And while that's been happening, Absolute Batman, well, not even just Absolute Batman, but the Absolute Universe has happened, Ultimates have. There's been so many new comic books that's come out right now, and you know everyone's been like asking me, "What are you doing? Why are you not jumping on it?" Don't worry, guys. I know about Absolute. I've been. If you watch my podcast, Comic Kitchen, I've talked about it in one of my other videos. I have a podcast with friends from, you know, college and stuff. But Comic Kitchen. Watch it, check it out. I talk about comic books on there. You'll hear, you know, me on there. I'm a little more, you know, I'm a little more loudmouth on that show. But I know about Absolute. I know all about it. I know all about the, you know, what's been going on in that universe. I've caught up with the books. I've been reading them in time, and there will be an analysis. I have a plan where I do want to cover all of the Absolute books. And I know that sounds like a lot. I have all these video ideas I want to talk about, and also the Absolute books. So it's like I'm trying to do a lot, and that's the idea. I'm gonna try to do a lot of weird things for this year, and maybe the year before, the year afterwards. But this is my channel. I've realized that. I've you know I don't need to talk just about comic books, but I also do want to talk about comic books. I'll talk about whatever interests me, whatever pleases me. I'll talk about it because I'm Blade the Comic Nerd. And yeah, that's pretty much the realization I've come to. And I don't know. I do want to try to do more experimental stuff, a bit more, maybe more weirder things on this channel. Like I said, I really just want to do more weird things. The world is weird and beautiful and unique, and you know, I kind of want to express that in my channel. I feel like I'm just yapping at this point. Oh my god. But another thing too. Even time for me to get all woke on y'all. Yeah, I know. But, you know, the term that people have transmogrified into something that doesn't even mean there is no term. But the world. I've always known that the world is evil, and there's inherent evil in this world, and even what you try to... A lesson I learned as a kid, and even as an adult, and I think I've learned it more and more growing up, is that you will be punished for doing the right thing. You will be beaten, tarred, feathered, mocked for even trying to stand for people who, you know, deserve it, who need it, you know? This is an evil world. Hell, this is right now I'm living in, like, you know, well, to be honest, being black in America is white supremacy it never left. You know, let's just be honest. And white supremacy's never left in America. And right now we're seeing just it show its bold face. I'm seeing so much ignorance, so much bigotry in the world, and it's so difficult to see this, especially as a, you know, person of color, a black person, to realize that, you know, I've number one, I want to preface this, and I'm not trying to like change or denounce anything, but ICE, you know, we're seeing people get deported, kicked out, and shot in the street pretty much. And people are compared to the Gestapo, and that is very much true. I'm not denying that is the Gestapo, you know, the German police, but also the violence and the rhetoric they use is the same behavior they used on black Americans in segregation. This is homegrown terror that black people have experienced since, you know, pretty much the first time we've been here. And I'm seeing this repeat happen time and time again with different communities. LGBT people, like I said, the immigrants. It's getting to a point where they're just targeting whatever group can be, you know, the straw man of the day. You know what I mean? Whatever group you can point your fingers at. You know, one day it's black people, other day it's Hispanic people, other day it's trans people, another day it's gay people, and I don't know. It's so hard to see just people just do this, act like this, and like not even care for, you know, someone else, you know. And also, like I said, like this is violence and terror I've had to see happen my whole life as a black person. This isn't new to me or new to pretty much any minority group in America. This is homegrown terror, and people applauding is terrified me. I'm seeing like, don't even get me started with the whole Epstein stuff. I mean, it's open known secret. You know, who would have known? Yeah, I know. I'm talking about politics on here. Get over it, you know. But like, I right now, it's the time to make your voice known, to make yourself known. That we have to stand up. We have to stick together. And like I said, this is an important thing you need to know. Doing the right thing will sometimes get you punished, will sometimes get you feathered, tarred, mocked, laughed for, but that's part of doing the right thing. You have to be the outcast sometimes. And that's okay, because people are understand, people are getting it. There will be people who will always stand with you, stand by your side, you know? We are seeing like the first stages of like, not even Nazi America, to be honest. Like I said, as a black person, this is something we experienced my whole life, so it's like, you know, this is homegrown terror I've had to experience half my life. And people are waking up, and that's good, but it's taken, to be honest, maybe a little too long. But also, like, it is terrifying to see black and brown children be taken away from their family, get deported because the way they look, the way they sound. And it's like, I'm seeing a repeat of this happen to a whole other group of people. This is terror that has been in America for, like I said, since the you know, ever since black people have been here. Ever since, you know, black and brown people have been here in general. And no one cares. Well, the people higher up, they know what they're doing. This is, like I said, this is white supremacy in its finest. And it's scary. It is so scary to see like this just happen. Have this constantly be repeated. And even knowing yourself, I've done research about my own self and knowing about my own things. I've had family who has been victims of hate crimes. I've done my research, and I don't want to go too much into it, but I've had family who has actually experienced hate crimes before, and to think that to see that happen again just over and over has, I don't know what to think. I really don't know what to think sometimes, you know? To know that not only has my family experienced this same pain, but to know that it's happening over and over and over again, and people are just willingly clapping, has honestly just terrified me sometimes. It makes me sick. So, right now, it's important to get community. It's important to stand up for what's right. And please, engage in stuff that's important. Do not engage with some random guy being a troll on the internet, being racist or misogynistic. That's not important. Who cares? This guy's probably 16. He's probably even 14. Hell. Stop engaging in stuff that doesn't help the actual. Engage with stuff that's important. Engage with things that are important, like right now. Stop engaging with just random bullshit. Engage with random trolls. Please, that doesn't help anyone. Engage with things that are important. Talk to your local communities. Community is important right now. You know, everything going on with Palestine, Congo, Venezuela. It's, you know. Yeah. Free Palestine, free Congo, you know, trans rights, what, you know, all the words, you know, but like, check on your friends, check on your family. Right now is the most important time to be just there, to be, you know, care about those, you know. We're living in a time where bigotry and evil is pretty much accepted. It is rewarded, and it is accepted right now. And it's terrifying to say that, but like I said, this is homegrown terror. I've realized, as I've pretty much experienced my whole life. And I know it's scary to say, but it's just, right now is the most important time for a community, and to stand up for what you think is right. It is important to talk and to you know, reach out to people. Please. All at the end of the day, all we have is each other. You know? And like I said, and you're seeing people stand up, you're seeing people do the right things. Those people are being killed for it. Like I said, it is terrifying, and I understand that. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be scared, because anger, I think, sometimes is okay to feeling. Anger is the feeling of the unjust. Anger is the feeling of the unheard. You know, sometimes anger is a good thing. I'm not saying completely give into it, but anger is the acknowledgement that things need to change, that things need to be better. I know some red YouTuber talking about this is just, you know, but I'm just telling you as someone who's experienced and seen these things myself in real time, and has really seen this just happen, and pretty much watched this happen my whole life. You know, I remember the whole weird culture war stuff, and how it's pretty much just, it's become just a whole different pit. It's become a whole different thing now, and it's, you know, look at what the world's come to now. We literally have a president who's in one of the worst sex scandals of all time. One of the child trafficking sex scandal. And people are clapping. People are clapping, people are cheering, and it's terrifying to say that that's just the world I live in now. You would think things get better, things would improve, but no, things are the same as they ever were. That's terrifying to say, especially as, you know, a black person who's lived in America. My mother, my grandparents, we have experienced the exact same things, and I've just realized that, like, I'm not saying nothing will ever change. I believe that things will change, but it seems hard to. It seems hard to acknowledge that. I want things to get better. I want things to change. But I just don't know. And I hope they do. And like I said, keep your heart close to your chest. Even this world is evil, it's terrifying, but keep your heart close to it. Keep your heart, keep your love close to yourself, and remember to be kind to those you love, and show them that right now, the most important time, and this most important time right now is to show them love, show them care, show them appreciation, and just community is the most important thing right now, more than ever. It's terrifying to think that I've grown up in a world where, you know, I've pretty much seen I wouldn't say the rise of this, but like it kind of, yeah. You know, all this culture war stuff has spiraled out into like a whole different thing, and has become this whole other, you know, boogeyman into something else so far much more worse. And it's terrifying to say that. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know that, yeah, I you know, take care of the people you love. But also, yes, I am back. I'm here. You know, despite my sorrow and grief, I'm always here. I'm here. I'm pushing it through, and you know, that's all we got to do. At the end of the day, all we have is each other, and we need to, you know, be kind to one another, because this world is not kind, and the people who run it are monsters, like literal monsters. I also do want to talk about some indie comics and other things. I know that's such a pivot, right? I'm just trying to think about all the things I want to talk about. I do want to talk about indie comics at one point. There's an indie comic that has a special place in my heart that I've been like fiending to talk about, and when I do, you're gonna acknowledge it. You're not gonna. You're gonna see why I want to talk about it so much, because it's like one of my favorite comics. I don't know. I do think that every time I make a video, it is also a piece of me I'm putting into that video. Like I said, when I made Animal Man, I was in a really dark place in my life, and when I made it, it was just like it felt good to acknowledge that pain, and to be like, okay, this is something I've experienced, and to, you know, not in a way where it's like, you know, I'm sitting and dwelling in my pain, but it's like acknowledging a wound. You know, sometimes you have to let a wound bleed for it to get better. Sometimes you got to just sit there and just let the blood flow through. And that was really like therapeutic for me almost. And I've been working on other videos with that too, and it's been like just you know, it is therapeutic sometimes to work on a video and just have time to think. And yeah, I know this video is so much of a serious tone, and it's so much more. I don't know. I just want you guys to know that I'm still here, and right now, the most important thing you can do is just be there for people you care about. I don't know what this world's coming to, and the way I'm seeing it, I'm terrified. I'm terrified for the ones I love. I'm terrified for my friends, my family. Um, you know, I just don't know. But even with that acknowledgement, with that fear, I have to. I have to be positive. I have to think that there are better things in this world. That eventually things will get better. I at least believe so. I hope so. And it's tough to think that, but like I said, the world is horrible right now, and to say the world's bad isn't a terrible thing. It's not nihilistic, but it's to acknowledge that the world can be better. The world is horrible, ugly. It is horrifying right now. You know, the children being murdered in Palestine, Congo, everything going on in America. I mean, it's so hard to see, like, just children like that. Like, it is horrifying sometimes. But you have to acknowledge, the world is horrible and ugly, but to acknowledge that you want it to be better, you want it to improve. And that's what I fully believe in. I want this world to be better. And me acknowledging it's bad is not me being nihilistic. It's just that I know that this world could be so much better, and I really want it to. And like I said, and despite all my doomer hope feeling, there are people out there. There are people who are standing. Like I said, you will be punished for doing the right thing. There are people who are standing their ground, who are doing the right things, and that's what real people. That's what real heroes do. A real hero isn't someone who fights bad guys, or, you know, saves the universe from some, like, god-defeating monster. But sometimes it's community heroes. It's being there in your community. It's feeding the homeless. I used to work in soup kitchens sometimes, you know, because I really feel like the best thing you can do is be a hero in your community. That's sometimes the best thing you can do is just to be a hero in your own life. You know, you're the people who really need it, you know? And just like I said, to be a real hero is to help in the community. Sometimes just help people out in your community, help out the homeless, go to a protest, help people, being a real hero is sometimes just having to stand up for just the impossible. And I don't know. I'm sorry. This is maybe this has gotten, like, too much, but it's just like, it's scary. Scary to say that I'm seeing this happen again and again. But we got this. At the end of the day, like I said, to be a real hero, sometimes you have to go against, you know, impossible odds. And hell, I'm a black person in America, so I've had impossible odds have just been my thing since, you know, pretty much the whole time I've been here. But yeah, I hope you guys are okay. I hope everyone's all right. You know, thank you guys for watching this. Thank you guys for just, you know, just hearing me out, hearing where I've been, and truly trying to understand, you know, what's been going on. You know, talk to the people you love, care about them, you know, really try to be the hero in your own personal life, help in your community, you know, do whatever you can right now to help your community, help the people in your life that you care and love for. You know, fuck ICE. Free Palestine. Free Congo. Black Lives Matter, trans rights. I'm just saying all the lines piss off, you know, those people. I'm joking, but like I do. These are things, you know, I think can be said right now. You know, these groups are being vilified. Like I said, queer people, black people. We are becoming pretty much targets to, you know, just targets. And it's terrifying to say that this is something that is homegrown in America, that is just happening over and over. But like I said, we're gonna be all right. People are standing up for it. People, like I said, I've said it time and time again in this video. I'm not repeating it myself one more time, but yeah. I hope you guys are okay. Please, you know, be safe. I hope everyone's okay. And you'll see more from me soon. I hope you can. I'll throw some little more videos out. I know maybe this was a bit more off script. I'm just yapping off my head, you know. But thank you guys for listening to me. It means a lot. And have a good day. Take care of yourself. And thank you for watching this. And you know, like, comment, subscribe. The footage this is Devil Spires footage. This is also a game I want to talk about. My channel at one point, it's a weird RPG I found. You know me and my weird RPGs. I just wanted cool gameplay footage in the background. That's Silent Hill music being played also. So, you know, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And have a good day. Have a swell day. And be safe.